Hey there, and thank you for joining us on the Designated Pundits. It's Major League Soccer team preview number 30, NYCFC. Here today with Tom Sweezy from MLS Aces. How you doing today?
What's going on? I'm back I think this is year 3 in a row, so I'm happy to be back covering New York City.
Awesome. We're happy to have you. This is preview 30. I sent my whole team like that Cartman meme where he's like on the computer and it's like, do we get to play the game now? Like, can't wait to do that. And we do. Thursday night, February 19th, 8 o'clock. We're coming with picks and predictions in our preview sportsbook show. Make sure you subscribe. Get in the comments. If you're there live, we'll talk to you as everyone appears. Otherwise, let's get right down to business here. NYCFC team number 30. Overall, a successful season, 17 wins, 5 draws, 12 losses. Was good enough for 5th in the East. You were 1-2 in Leagues Cup, beating Lyon. Eliminated from MLS playoffs with a 5-1 loss to Inter Miami. Checking briefly on how you got to where you were. 50 goals scored was 9th in the East, but 44 goals conceded. That was tied for 3rd in the East, plus goal differential at +6, 8th in the East. So overall, you guys finished a little better, and it was mostly on the back of your defense.
100%. It was a strong defensive year. I think Pascal Janssen coming in year 1, his tactical shift, I think, we spoke about it a little bit a few minutes ago off camera, right? Like the back 3 shift and what Justin Hack brought to this team along with Thiago Martins really was the core strength for this team. Matt Freese, obviously in net, you're talking USMNT #1 goalkeeper. You're talking a guy who is in the conversation of MLS goalkeeper every year. So defensively, a strong squad that I think will hopefully be the case once again in 2026.
Awesome. I have a few more notes to kind of round out the season here. Things I found interesting. 6-1 late summer run kind of moved you into the playoff spot. It was a pretty lackluster season until that point. There were some midseason transfers transferred out. Burke Risa, Monsef Bakrar. My MLS punching bag is gone. I can't make fun of Monsef Bakrar anymore this year. Santiago Rodriguez. And you brought in Aiden O'Neill, Nicholas Fernandez, and Raul Gustavo during the course of the season. When you look at your top goal scorers, Alonso Martinez, the guy who was unavailable, got injured at the very, very end of last season. Hans Wolf with 11 goals, 5 assists. And then a bunch of contributors, Andre Perea, Julian Fernandez, Maxi Morales, and Justin Hack, all around that 5 or 6 contribution mark. Let's talk about the goal contributors last season.
You're talking about, obviously, name the top this list, right? Alonso Martinez, I think, hand in hand, one of the pure best finishers in all of Major League Soccer. You're talking about a guy who anywhere near the box, he is going to be able to finish a ball. He is going to be able to put something away into the back of the net. And you're seeing that with what he did in 2024 and then obviously what he did in 2025, back-to-back years of strong performances. We will dive into 2026, but not having him for a majority or if all of this year is going to hurt. Hannes Wolf is a guy who I don't know if he is going to ever be like a superstar in Major League Soccer, but overall, he is one of the most solid kind of key role players, key kind of rotational guys when he's not starting that I think, people don't talk about around Major League Soccer. Like 16 goal contributions over the course of a season is nothing to, like turn your head at. He's a very good player. I think he's streaky. He has his ups and downs, but when he's on, he's on. And then the last player I want to mention here is Maxi Morales. I mean, he's the ageless wonder. He is the, epitome of what New York City FC soccer has been. He's almost 40 years old and he had 9 goal contributions in Major League Soccer last year. And at this point, I'm expecting him to be playing a bunch of minutes in 2026 as well. But he doesn't seem to age. He does it at such a high level, being placed at that 10, eating up a ton of minutes on his legs, which again, we will see what eventually that comes to and when that breaking point eventually happens. But you have to give Maxi his love.
Love it. In the comments, will you be doing your weekly picks and predictions tonight or tomorrow, Bob? That depends when you're watching the video. The predictions will be on Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern time. All right, now, Let's turn the page on 2025 and talk about 2026. That's what we're all here for. Start first with the players out. Julian Fernandez, Jovan. You're going to have to help me out with that one.
Mijatovic.
Justin Hack.
So for players out for this year, right? Mijatovic, Elenic, and Fernandez all loaned out. It's a situation where Julian Fernandez doesn't surprise me. He never really kind of lived up to the high price tag that New York City FC brought him, or City Football Group, I guess, brought him in under as a U22 initiative player. Jovan Mijatovic, kind of same thing. He was on loan for last year, and now he's back out on loan. Just never really seemed comfortable, happy in the United States, to be perfectly honest. That I think he's a young kid, probably wants to be closer home to family and friends and all of that. So he's going to be remaining out on loan for this year. And then Mitja Elenic was the surprising one to me. He eventually lost the starting right back job to Tavon Gray, but ultimately, he was still getting a ton of minutes. It seems like it's another situation where people were talking about Elenic to be this guy that New York City was going to bring in, eventually sell for a bunch of money when he fully develops, and he just wasn't kind of hitting that peak. Again, another European player that there's some rumors and reports he wanted to go back to Europe, be closer to home and whatnot. And again, Tavon Gray beat him out for that starting right back job for under Pascal Janssen. So those three moves all kind of make sense. There are some talent hits there for sure.
Yeah, you're dancing around it. Justin Hack. That's the one we want to talk about, because that's the big name player.
I was given the love. I was given the love to those three, but Justin Hack for sure, right? Is the off-season move, is the off-season player we're going to be most missing, is the one that we definitely we messed up. Like, I think New York City probably, if you had internal conversations, would admit that they probably should have offered Justin Hack a contract sooner than what they did and for more money than what they did. He was a homegrown central midfielder that eventually got bumped back into a center back in a back four, and then last year really thrived as one of the best center backs in the league in a back three under Pascal Janssen setup. And he was easily, to me, maybe the fourth most important player on this New York City team in 2025 that, again, got pushed into an Eastern Conference final. Defensively, much upgraded. He was distributing some assists from that back line. The passing was unbelievable from him. He really helped control the tempo of the game. So Justin Hack is going to be the number one most missed player off this list for sure.
And he joins a brand new tandem in LA Galaxy with Jacob Glesnes. You got Carlos Garces, Maya Yoshida, a very, very weak defense from last year. So what did they do? They went to the Eastern Conference and grabbed the two best available center backs. And as fate would have it, you find out about your mistake early. You're taking them on week one, LA Galaxy versus NYCFC.
We will see Justin Hack sooner rather than later. And yeah, it's interesting. I mean, this isn't a Galaxy preview podcast, but Hack's been playing in central midfield in the preseason for the Galaxy. It'll be interesting to see how they tactically roll him out and roll out their team in general. But we will get a taste of Justin Hack sooner rather than later by the time we're done talking.
You did have some players in. I think Kai Traywin is the one that we're really expecting here to be a starter for the team. And then Aceto, Flax, got some depth there too, right?
Yeah, so Flax, Aceto learned all homegrown signings, I think all coming out of NCAA soccer. And then Kai Traywin is the Justin Hack replacement, right? He's a defensive midfielder, can play center back. Literally, we will probably see him slot in exactly for Justin Hack in Pascal Janssen's back three. Coming from City Football Group, he's coming over from the A-League with Melbourne City, was successful over in Australia, and the Australia to MLS learning curve is either a big hit or miss. I'm hoping it's a hit for New York City, but everything is trending from people who are able to watch this team in preseason and from reporters around the team saying Kai Traywin looks like he could be the real deal.
Awesome. So now that we have talked about some incoming and outgoing players, I have a depth chart here, and it's kind of showing a 3-4-2-1, and you're going with like the two number 10s. Would you want to start from the back line forward or from the front back?
Let's go from the front back, just because I feel like it makes the most sense to kind of break it down. Alonso Martinez is out. There's no 9 up top for this team. And when Alonso Martinez was out towards the end of last year, we saw our DP signing from last summer, Nico Fernandez, who's naturally a 10, kind of fill in as that striker up top. He did really well. He was scoring a bunch of goals in the playoffs and towards the end of last year. So he looks to me like it makes the most sense to have him up top with 2 young homegrowns and Seymour Reed and Yanez kind of sitting behind him. Hannes Wolf, we spoke about, right? He's going to be a winger. He's going to be a 10, kind of however we want to tactically see that shift happen. Sitting underneath Fernandez, along with Talis Magno, who's technically it kind of feels like a new signing. He's going to be back into the team in effectively is 2 years away from New York City FC.
So let's take a second on Talis Magno, because this is a player who we've heard a lot about. He was very hyped. I remember like 3 years ago, he had like a special like silver FIFA card that like everyone was trying to grind for. Yeah. Pace, wing, didn't expect him to show up as a number 10 here. And most importantly, Agustin Ojeda behind him, who's a player who I thought would be starting on almost every other Major League Soccer team. So can we talk about the depth there? And when do we expect him to be acclimated?
So Magno hasn't really played in preseason. He's been dealing with an injury. I think some New York City fans or reporters were kind of like, is this just Magno, holding out to get another loan deal out somewhere? But by all accounts and purposes, he is going to be part of the team. It doesn't maybe look like week 1 is going to be when we see him. It maybe looks like we'll see him, after the start of the Major League Soccer season. But I think effectively when he's healthy and he's ready, he will be on that, whatever we want to call it, a 10, a winger, like that kind of role, sitting, next to Nico Fernandez in the middle. And then Agustin Ojeda, right? He's in a similar vein to Julian Fernandez to me. Fernandez never really lived up to the high price tag, never really lived up to that U22 initiative deal, and he's gone effectively, right? So Agustin Ojeda had a little bit more success under Pascal Janssen last year. It wouldn't surprise me if he has another iffy to poor year. He's gone on loan and like doing what City Football Group seems to do with New York City FC. But if he has a good year, I could see him being a key contributor, key player sitting behind Magno or Wolf or whoever kind of out wide in this attack.
All right, so now let's move back to the midfield. You have, kind of 4 players across. You have your wings or your wing backs, and then you have the 2, I guess, more holding type number 6 or number 8 hybrids there. Can we just first establish what the positional roles will be and then talk about the depth?
Yep. So it's going to be right out on the wings. We kind of spoke about it. Kevin O'Toole and Tavon Gray, your left wing back, right wing back, effectively on this team. Tavon Gray will get up into the attack just as much as Kevin O'Toole, but I feel like he's a little bit more of the defensive presence there, right? He's not really bringing as much of that final third quality of, putting the ball into the box or whatnot, but he will push up and get into the attack. Kevin O'Toole is the player who I think is an underrated defender. He just got called up into the Irish national team over the summer, so congratulations to him. But he is a player who will get up. He can put in that final, that final cross, that final ball into the box, and kind of help push the attack a little bit more. So that's effectively the wingback situation there. And then more centrally, right, it's Aidan O'Neill, who was that's that. He wasn't a summer signing. He technically came in the winter, but it was towards the end of the winter window, so he missed 15 games last year anyway. He's the more of the true number 6 defensive midfielder, right? Coming over from the A-League as well. He is a full Australian international. He will be that guy to make that bone crunching tackle. He'll be the guy to kind of clear it out and have way more of a defensive responsibility. Where Keaton Parks, knock on wood, if and when he's healthy, and he should be playing and he should be healthy, but he's been dealing with heart issues for the last 2 years. He's going to be the guy that's going to be allowed to have a little bit more free roam. He will push up, get mixed into the attack, a solid defender in his own right, but he's going to be a little bit more, have a little bit more free roam, where Aidan O'Neill is going to remain back a little bit more tactically.
All right, and then we have 3 center backs: Raul Gustavo, Kai Trewin, and Thiago Martins. Let's talk about the depth here at center back, because if you're playing 3, you really need 5. You got 3.5 here. Let's talk about how the depth is gonna affect us here.
Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, we already talked about Kai Trewen a little bit and his responsibilities during the transfer, so I'm not going to touch him too much there. But Raul Gustavo was a summer signing for New York City. You saw really good moments out of him towards the end of last year, but you also saw really poor moments from him out of the end of last year. He's a guy who can kind of play a little bit of left back, play a little bit of center back. I'm hoping, expecting a full off season and a full season. Under Pascal Janssen, he kind of can step into what should effectively be a good starting caliber caliber center back in Major League Soccer. And then Thiago Martins, right? Like, we know what he is. He's a DP center back who technically can get bought down if the opportunity arises. He's a good center back. I'm not saying he's, best center back in the league, but he is a guy that you feel confident with on your back line. He's a captain of this team. He's a leader of this team. So realistically, I feel pretty good about the starting back three. But to your point, right, you have Max Murray and Cameron Acito, a super draft pick from last year and a homegrown signing from this year. Not expecting too much out of them in terms of minutes to be played. And then, you have Tasalenovic, who he's gotten a bunch of minutes under Pascal Janssen. He's gotten starting minutes under Janssen, especially before Gustavo arrived last year. And, there are some injuries along the back line and whatnot. I'm expecting him to be the fourth center back rotated into all of it. I'm not his biggest fan favorite on the team, but that's just me. But I would like to see, kind of what does it look like if there needs to be another center back? Does Tavon Gray bump back into a right center back? We've seen that at points, who kind of fills in at that center back if there's an injury or if, you need to rotate a little bit.
And Matt Freese, we've touched on him a little bit. Spectacular, stood on his head in the U.S. call up with penalties. I think he faced 6 penalties. He guessed the right direction on every one, saved a whole bunch. I think his field play is a little less spectacular than that, but good shot stopper, fantastic in penalties apparently.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Freese is, again, he's a guy that, due to his shot-stopping ability, like you mentioned, he's going to be in MLS Goalkeeper of the Year conversations every year, especially being the U.S. #1. That helps the media side of things as well. He's a great goalkeeper. It's plain and simple. I'm not going to beat too much around the bush. He's a guy who can win you a game in net. He did it at points last year for New York City, and he's a guy who has a really good command of the defense in front of him, which, again, hopefully can elevate Thiago Martins, Kai True, and Raul Gustavo and everyone else.
Did you know that he had that in him? Like he just stopping every penalty in the tank?
He is. It's funny when, he came from the Philadelphia Union. It was like you heard rumblings that in training he was like a really good PK, like goalkeeper, whatnot. But you don't really get to see it, I guess, that often in terms of over the course of a full season. But when you get to see it in terms of penalty shootouts that are becoming more and more frequent, when you get to see it at the USMNT level, you almost just get to that confirmation bias of like, wow, like the reports of everything you're hearing and people you're talking to, like this dude is legit at that.
And it's more than just being good, it's studying. You have to know your stuff, and
he's a smart kid.
Every player, where every ball was going, really fantastic.
He's a smart Ivy League. There's 2 Ivy League graduates on this team, Kevin O'Toole and Matt Freese. You got two very smart, intelligent people and soccer players for sure.
Awesome. Now, for my article on Hooligan Soccer, I'm asking all the teams the same 7 questions. So let's get into those and kind of break down, get to what we need to know for the betting, for the money. Which player outside of our starting 11 has the best chance at winning a starting job?
I think Johnny Shore or Seymour Reed. I hate to give 2 answers to a question, but those two homegrown players. The only reason why I lean Johnny Shore is I don't know what Keaton Parks' minutes are really going to look like for me personally, again, due to his consistent kind of heart issues and health issues going on. But Johnny Shore stepped up under Pascal Janssen last year, played some big minutes, played in some big-time games. He's a really talented young central midfielder. I think he could definitely play his way into somewhat of a starting role. And Seymour Reed, he's a young Jamaican youth international. There is no 9 on this team officially right now, right, with Alonso Martinez gone. And apparently Tom Bogert's reporting Seymour Reed has had a bunch of interest from other MLS clubs and European clubs. He's the real deal, real kind of homegrown talent that you want to see eventually thrive up into a starting role. Scored a bunch in MLS Next Pro. We'll see if he gets the opportunity under Pascal Janssen.
Now, this one's interesting to me because when I look at this roster, I have to tell you, I'm not seeing very much. I mean, we just talked all 30 teams in Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of role players, a lot of contributors, and there's a lot of people doing their job well. That's really good when you're a soccer team. But you are kind of short on some top tier talent. So what are realistic expectations for this season?
I think based off of what has been built last year, and I think Pascal Janssen, I keep on mentioning him, but it's for a purpose of, I think he's one of the better managers in all of Major League Soccer. I think the realistic expectation, especially with Alonso Martinez and Andres Pereira out, is a road playoff spot somewhere in that, 5 to 7, 8 range. In all honesty, I think if you had Alonso Martinez up top, if you had even Andres Pereira healthy within this team, I'd feel a little bit better about them. Musa Sila was a DP signing that was officially confirmed by the best out there and Tom Bogert and other reporters, and then that DP transfer fell through with Schalke due to City Football Group and Schalke not being happy with how it's handled and whatnot. So even if you had a DP9 there, I'd feel much better about this team, but we don't. And that's where I think realistic is road playoff spot.
I agree there. Yeah. And I think coaches are a little undervalued in Major League Soccer. When we see a coach change, it changes everything. We're seeing that now with Red Bull. We're going to be 12th or 13th. No, we're not. We have Michael Bradley. Come on.
I think, look,
anyway, wrong team.
It's fair.
What are some storylines we need to follow throughout the season? Most people watching this preview video, maybe they're doing opposition research, probably not NYCFC fans. Mm-hmm. What are some stories we can follow?
I think when you're talking this is both on and off the field, it's the story of Talles Magno. I think that is the biggest one that is circling New York City right now. You have a guy who was pretty much a teenager the last time that he played for New York City. In 2022, when he was a true winger, he had 19 goal contributions across all competitions. In 2023, he gets forced to be played up top as a 9. He only had 7 across all goal contributions. Barely, I think he had a handful of games for the club in 2024. He's out on loan. He goes out on loan for 2025. He's now effectively back, and in my, hope is that he is playing as a winger for Pascal Janssen, where he now has more years of experience under his belt. He's only 23 years old. He is a DP or designated player, rostered player on this team. Get back to what he was when he was a teenager, just figuring out how to play soccer, and let's get 15 goal contributions, and he could be the player that completely flips the narrative around New York City. And then sure, if a DP striker comes in, great. And sure, if Alonso Martinez comes back the last month of the season, great. That's where I think New York City could build for sure.
Awesome. So let's now talk about some strengths and weaknesses tactically. What styles is NYCFC going to match up well against?
Well against, I would say, is teams who, New York City wants to be a very controlled possession team, right? They want to build out of the back. They want to hold the ball. They want to pass it around. They want to play for their opportunity. So I think if you're talking about a team that's kind of aggressively pressing, or a team that's going to kind of give you some space behind and give you those opportunities to find the space behind, New York City is going to eat that up all day. They're going to find those opportunities. Nico Fernandez is going to find those opportunities. Maxi Morales is going to ping the ball around and be able to find a Talles Magno, a Hannes Wolf, someone like Kevin O'Toole making that run, right? So that's the team that New York City wants to play against. That's the style that they're going to put their control on the game there for sure.
In the inverse, what is a tactical style that this team is going to match up poorly against?
Again, right, they want to control possession. They want to have the ball. They want that possession number on FOTMOB to be super high at the end of the day, right? So when you're going up against the team that is sitting in a low block, they're really hard to break down. They're going to stack the box. They're really not going to let you kind of get those runners going and get those talented young players kind of behind them. That's where it's going to be tough. I think if you go up against even a fast counter-attacking team, in my brain, I think of LAFC from 2025, where it was, let's just get Denny Bouanga and Heung-min Son on the run. That's going to kill New York City, especially if the possession and everyone's pressed up the field. New York City likes to play with the high defensive line. They're going to get killed on the counter. If there isn't some kind of a tactical adjustment, right? So I think that's where New York City is going to match up for. And
spoiler alert, with Jacob Schaffelberg headed to LAFC, they did not get slower this offseason. They're going to be
not at all.
90th minute plus off to the races. I can't wait to watch some good LA soccer this year. Last year was left a little to be desired. What player, if you had to pick one, is going to improve the most this season?
Improve the most? I'm going to go back to a guy who I think we said will potentially crack into the starting 11, and that's Johnny Shore, 100%. Like, young player, super talented. You see the ability when he's stepped into moments last year. I think he will improve the most and could improve into like what people around the league think of as MLS quality starting central midfielder.
And the inverse of that, what player is going to take a step? It's got to be Maxi Morales, right? Like,
yeah, I think just naturally, and it's not even a shot at Maxi Morales. He's almost 39, right? Like, he's just gonna, like, again, like I said to start with the whole thing. At what point does Maxi Morales not hit 10 goal contributions on a season? Like, it's eventually going to happen. It'll be sad for me when it does, but it's probably Maxi for sure. If not, maybe like Thiago Martins. I don't know, just a 32-year-old center back taking a step back. But I don't even feel too confident in saying that, to be honest.
Father Time is undefeated in the end. That kind of goes to what we said. All right. We got it in under 30 minutes. NYCFC, the season starts this Saturday, so make sure you check out all 30 team previews. Tom, thanks for being here one more time. Let us know where we can find your work.
MLS Aces on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Blue Sky. We are around on all social media platforms. We're around on every podcast platform. And again, video on YouTube for anyone who likes to look at our pretty faces. So MLS Aces podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you everyone for tuning in. 8 o'clock on Thursday, February 19th for picks and predictions. Have a great weekend, everybody.